is sentenced to 6 years in prison and banned from practicing law for 20 years. This shows what's going on in Iran.
In the past, you have emphasized that the West should pay attention to human rights in Iran and the safety of its people, as well as to its nuclear program. What specifically do you expect from the European Union?
The European Union should extend the list of the individuals it has subjected to sanctions due to human rights violations. It should also go for sanctions that do not harm the people, but rather aim at weakening the regime. My clear proposal is that the Iranian government should not be able to misuse European television satellites to spread hatred and lies. Also, EU representatives should go to Iran for the upcoming elections there to supervise.
Last month, the death of Iranian blogger Sattar Beheshti while under interrogation in prison was perceived by Iranians and world public opinion as a blatant case of a human rights violation. At some stage, even the judiciary took an interest. But it seems that this is being attributed to a simple case of error by a government official. How can the Iranian judiciary be held accountable?
The most important problem is that Iran's judiciary system has lost its independence. It's turned into a department of the intelligence ministry. Unfortunately, security officials can dictate whatever they wish. The judges in charge of such cases just sign and enforce the orders. It's important that we retrieve the independence of the judiciary system, and this is not possible unless its legal structure is completely changed.
The mission of the UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in Iran, Ahmed Shahid, is still unclear. Iranian officials have not yet allowed him to visit Iran. What measures can the UN take?
The United Nations has understood well that the Iranian government's intentions are to cover things up, and that's why it's not giving Mr. Shahid a visa. Take, for example, the type of elections that are held in Iran. The Iranian authorities pretend they are free elections. Representatives should go and oversee the upcoming elections to see if the presidential elections follow the guidelines of free, healthy, and fair elections or not. The Iranian government is a signatory of the guidelines approved by the Interparliamentary Union. These envoys should see if the elections are compatible with human rights conventions, which Iran has also signed.
In Iran's prisons, there are journalists, lawyers, and human rights activists. There's Mrs. Sotoudeh, Abdul Fattah Sultani, Ahmad Zaidabadi, Issa Saharkis, and Mohammad Sadiq Kabudvand. But there are also dozens of other political prisoners whose names are unknown. According to activists, they and their families are under great pressure. What measures are activists and international communities taking regarding this group of prisoners?
We should repeat the names of these people, and they should be supported everywhere and in every way possible. For example, awarding them prizes can bring them into the limelight. One of these unknown people who is in the worst condition is Mr. Javid Houtankian, the lawyer of Sakina Mohammadi, the woman who was sentenced to death by stoning and whose stoning verdict has not been enforced following international pressure. But her main lawyer, Mr. Javid Houtankian, has been sentenced to 6 years in prison. He's been in jail in the city of Tabriz for more than 2 years, and he's been under the most severe physical and psychological pressures. This brave lawyer needs to be supported.
A considerable number of individuals were executed in Iran this year, and this is according to the Islamic Republic of Iran's official reports. Human rights activists have been expressing concern over drug accusations and fear that some political dissidents might have been executed. Are the United Nations Human Rights Council and other international fora aware of this concern?
Unfortunately, no announcement is made for many of those who were executed. The question remains whether they are drug smugglers or if there have been dissidents among them. We protest against such executions. Our strongest protest is that the judiciary holds trials for them behind closed doors. Specifically, 2 months ago, news came from the medical examiner that 4 women had been stoned and their bodies were seen by the coroners. When were they stoned? How were they tried? How can such punishments be enforceable in the 21st century? These are questions that Iranian lawyers are asking, for which, unfortunately, the regime has no answer.
خانم وادی وقتی که در اختیار یارونیوز قرار دادین بسیار سپاسگزارم.
خواهش می‌کنم.